Well, let's focus on the Mumbai metropolitan region redevelopment. News reports say that Maharashtra government has cut the premium for redevelopment of cooperative housing societies. To talk more on this and the real estate sector outlook, we're now joined by Rajesh Prasad, the Senior Executive Director at CBRE, and Anuj Puri, the Chairman at Anurag Property Consultants. Gentlemen, morning to both of you. Anuj, I want to start with you because, redevelopment in Mumbai is a huge opportunity, right? Some reports are indicating that there is a 30,000 crore opportunity that we're seeing in terms of the redevelopment size in the MMR region. Tell us a little bit about that and what do you see as the potential over the next couple of years?
So first of all, a very good morning to you and your viewers. It is absolutely a phenomenal opportunity. Mumbai residential itself is 50% of the India's residential. So you can well imagine every year there is nearly 185 lakh crores of new homes that are sold. So the problem in Mumbai then comes out is where is the land? How can we continue to grow the land if that is the kind of velocity of sale and nearly 50% in terms of value of new residential being sold only just in the MMR region. So one of the things is the redevelopment that has come up, which the government has done a fantastic thing on the redevelopment. This is largely the old societies. Just for your viewers to understand, the old societies, which have been in place for 15, 20, 25 years. There is an additional FSI that you can build on it. The building is very old, and obviously there are no facilities in those buildings. So the Maharashtra government has given this option that you can redevelop the entire society and take advantage of the additional premiums to be able to go high rise. And, initially I was not very hopeful that the scheme will pick up. But what I have now seen is very good quality developers, whether it's Rustomji, Rahejas, Mahindras, number of these large developers, listed and unlisted, getting into this space because this is a very profitable business for the developer and yet at the same time really beneficial to the occupiers because they give their old flat out and they're rehoused elsewhere by the developer and then they get a much bigger, newer flat in exchange old flat.
Got it. So that's how redevelopment works. We understand that. But you said it's much more profitable. Can you tell us the margins on these redevelopment projects? Are they much higher than the traditional projects?
Yes, they are much higher. The reason for that is because you're not paying for land. As a developer, you're not really paying for land. You are paying for the additional premium that you are buying and you're spending the money on the cost of construction. And you're also spending the cost of construction for the existing occupier on the homeowner, because the homeowner is not going to pay his share of the cost of construction. But if you look at overall, if you were to buy the land and build it up, the profit margins are between 20 to 25%. Here, the profit margins are between 25 to 35%.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, morning, Anuj and Rajesh. Just a basic question, Rajesh, to get you into the discussion as well. You heard Anuj, of course, very bullish on this entire opportunity. And by the way, we've had listed companies like Mahindra Life Spaces come on the program over the last many months and actively talk about this opportunity. It's a full-fledged sort of initiative now to look for these redevelopment societies, etc., in Mumbai. Rajesh, is there a minimum kind of threshold under these rules which have been specified? A number of years only after which a project, a development can be redeveloped, a society can be redeveloped? And are there any other operational issues, or this is now all streamlined and good to go? Your thoughts?
So, that step that you mentioned, which the government has taken, which was flashing on the screen right now, as Anuj also mentioned, it's a very positive step because most of the stock that we're talking in residential going forward, I think the future is more on the redevelopment side because Mumbai is geographically constrained with water on 3 sides. On minimum threshold, normally, I think we are talking about larger societies, which are like 25, So, it's generally we're talking about, 10 acres plus societies, and, the government is trying to see what more they can do at their end to try and bring in more supply so that there's a fair bit of balance achieved with the demand because, the demand is at an all-time high when we're seeing in residential. So yeah, there is a concerted effort which the government is putting in, and this latest step is definitely a step in the positive direction towards it.
Okay.
You're saying that builders will not be, I mean, only beyond 10 acres it is viable for builders, or because, I mean,
Yeah.
or yeah.
See, the larger developers, when we talk about, like Anuj mentioned, right, we are seeing all the big boys get into the game. Or if you recall earlier when we used to talk about redevelopment, it was normally the mid-tier or the smaller developers that they were opting for redevelopment. But with now very limited development opportunities, right, we are seeing the big boys, the institutional developers, the developers from South like Puravankara, Prestige, they are getting into the redevelopment game. And from whatever conversations we've had, there has to be a certain size and scale, for them from a management bandwidth and a financial wherewithal standpoint for them to get in, for it to be viable.
Okay. Anuj, comment on this, because we are talking about record high registrations in Mumbai every other day. But how much of it is coming from redevelopment? Because usually it's connected to higher demand in a particular market, but a lot of it is coming from redevelopment. What is that number?
So it is not that much at this moment in time, because this redevelopment really has picked up, I would say, in the last 18 odd months. It does take a long time before the project is available for sale, because the redevelopment mandate is signed between the developer and the society. But by the time the society vacates it and the building comes down, it's usually 12 to 18 months. It's unlike a clean, clear plot of land. So my thought is that you will see next financial year, the society redevelopment supply hitting the market. This financial year is minuscule that has hit the market, although a lot of deals have been done, but they were not vacant land parcels. And by the time, they've got vacated, it's taken that much time.
Okay. And how much is the new supply? Can you give us a sense of how big the redevelopment market would be right now in Mumbai, or the opportunity?
So I'll divide into two parts. On the redevelopment, one was the SRA, which was the slum rehabilitation. And, that scheme, we did not see any quality developer really go into it in a very large way. There were some quality developers which went in, but not really meaningfully. In this society redevelopment, we're genuinely seeing a number of these good quality developers, because a lot of these societies are actually South Mumbai based. So whilst I agree with what Rajesh said is 10 acres, but in many of these South Mumbai residential redevelopment societies, the land parcels are much smaller and the viability is very high. So if you were to look at the total value terms, my thought is that over the next few years, nearly 15 to 20% of your new supply will come from redevelopment of societies. And in terms of value, this may go up to 25%.
Okay, got it. Before we let both of you go, I wanted your thoughts on the other big news flow that came in the last couple of days, right, on fractional ownership of real estate, where SEBI also is now seeking to regulate and organize this entire piece, the fractional ownership piece. Anuj, your thoughts first on what kind of potential you see here, and is there enough transparency in the sector already?
So, fractional ownership was going on for some time. I think SEBI has done a great job that they allowed it first to go on for some time, and now they've come out with regulations. It is in a lot of demand by the smaller investors. So, if I'm a small investor, maybe a lakh rupee I want to invest, I can't buy real estate. I can buy stocks of listed developers. I can buy REITs. But what else? This is where the fractional ownership is going to really impact, and it will attract smaller investors who do want to play in the real estate. So clearly a very nice direction. Had been in the business for some time. We were not getting into it because we wanted this to be regulated first. And we are delighted that now SEBI is coming. You will see institutional players now get into this frame.
Okay, so SEBI is coming, so now institutional players will get into this frame. Rajesh, I wanted your thoughts on it, because there are some issues with fractional ownership, right? One is, of course, it's not regulated. The other one is it is illiquid if you compare it to REITs, and the investment is also high. There's a minimum ticket size that you have to pay of, I think, 10 lakhs. Do you think it will get enough traction despite SEBI, coming in and trying to increase transparency in the sector?
In fact, with SEBI coming in, I personally believe that there will be more traction, because that will give a lot more comfort and confidence levels to investors, to go for it, because now it's regulated, right? And one of the biggest challenges that we've seen in fractional ownership is, as you said, when it comes to exit, right? The exit is very complicated, right? And that's where all the regulatory, bit and the governance, once it steps in, it will enhance the confidence levels, and you'll see more people opting for fractional ownership. As I said, the canvas of target audience is so much more larger. when it comes to investing in real estate, if you're talking about fractional ownership.
Sorry, we're jumping topics here, but since we have both of you with us, Anuj, this entire, in Bangalore, right, recent headlines on water shortages, etc. From a property sector perspective, what does it mean? This has been one of the fastest growing real estate markets. Will we see, by the way, the city is now imposing water curbs, water usage, etc. So these are pretty, it's the reality, but these are also, of course, these could deter future home buyers and people who want to set up sort of businesses or take office space, etc. If this is the direction and the situation is not addressed immediately, what's your take on the matter? Yeah.
I 100% agree with what you're saying is, the real estate development will now get into serious sustainable development. I think for the longest time, we've been talking about sustainable development, but it has really been largely words. On the office side, it had picked up because the occupier wants sustainable development buildings. They want platinum rated buildings. So hence recycling of the water, etc. was done. But on the residential side, the home buyer is not sophisticated as yet to be able to ask. But is the situation, if it continues the same, going to impact real estate? 100% it will impact real estate over a period of time. So it will need to be addressed very quickly. Bangalore is a very attractive city, and you cannot have this problem, continuing, because it will deter a lot of the office occupiers, as a result of which the real estate market.
Okay, all right, gentlemen, thanks a lot for joining us and talking about some of these hot topics in the real estate space.